Okay, before I start, I'll do the address to the Haggis, and then we'll have to say a wee, what you say before a meal. My brain's a wee grace before a meal. So first of all, we'll address the Haggis. Fair for your honest sonsy face, great chieftain of the pudding race. Upon them all you take your place, bench, tripe or thorn. Wheel you worthy o' grace, as long's my elm. The groaning trencher there you fill, your hurdies like a distant hill. Your pen would help to mend a mill in time of need, and through the pores the dews distill like amber mead. His knife, see honest labour dight, and cut ye off with bonny slight, trenching your gushing entrails tight like any ditch. Then, for a warm, wondrous sight, warm, weak and rich. Then for them, sorry. Horn for horn they strike and strive, deal tack the hindmost on they drive, till all their walls swelled kites belive are bent like drums. That's when good men miss like belive, they think it hums. Is there Worry's French ragout, or fricassee that would stow a sou, or olio that would make you spew with perfect scunner, look down with some confit you and sick at dinner? Ah, poor deal. See him o'er his trash, as feckless as a withered rash, his spindle shanks a good whiplash, his knee a nipped, o'er bloody fields and floods to flip. Oh, how unfit. But see yon Haggis, but see yon rustic Haggis fed, the very earth resounds his tread. Clapping his wally knee a blade, he'll make it bustle, and leg and arm and neck he'll sned like any thrust. Attempt to follow. O Lord, O mark mankind your care, and send him down his bill of fare. All Scotland wants nae stinking ware that jugs and wuggies, but if you'll heed our heartfelt prayer, send us a Haggis.
Sorting out all your lovely nicks and tatsies and all that malarkey, that'll be coming through shortly. So we'll get the lovely, wonderful one. We're going to call these the Bicton. The Bicton Baggy Pipers. I think that's good. The Bicton Baggy Pipers, ladies and Traditional Burns night.
Yes.
The Immortal memory. So, are we ready? Choose a song. 1 to 12. We have got Flower of Scotland.
Yay! I love that.
That's very childish, like you would have done in the school hall when somebody drops a plate. Very rude. I would have done exactly the same. Are we ready? Anybody know the words?
I think this guy will know the words.
Number 1 on your sheet. Are we ready? Somebody give me a note. £10 would be nice.
No, they're just all
Scotland, when we see the light again, and for the right for we the hill and went and stood against them.
Who's that?
Red army and said to no word to think again. Brilliant, go on then. The hills are there now. Candles and gleams, thick and still.
I'm gonna keep on going.
And those now, those so dearly held, who's that?
I'm getting old now, and I start the sentence and the time I get to the end, I forgot what I was going to say, so it's a bit tricky this. Anyway, Derek's asked me to do the Immortal Memory, which was started in Edinburgh, not 1759 when Robinson Crusoe was born. See what I mean by the words? But about 100 years afterwards, in some low-down drinking house in Edinburgh. So, anyway, I quite happy to do the Immortal Memory because I've been with Burns all my life. Not obviously physically, but I mean I've been associated with him because my mother and my auntie and my granny and a whole lot of them used to do nothing else but recite or sing or whatever, because there's bugger all else to do, and no television, nothing else. So
Make babies.
We used to sing. Yeah. No, but if you saw my relatives, you wouldn't believe it. Well, so, the lady, I've forgotten her name now. What was her name again? Who showed me the bollocks?
Oh, that's
And I thought, God, I wish I had a pair like that. She was asking me if I have anything under my kilt. I'm not going to show you because I have to wear a nappy, so it's not. What the hell? Anyway, as I say, it gives me great pleasure to do what I'm not sure, but I can't remember. I'll hand you the sheet. There you go. You can read them back to me. Anyway, my mother, seriously, I thought we were serious, but my auntie and granny and that used to live in obviously a house, but a wee Button Ben. You know what that is? No, well, neither do I. It's a two-bedroom house, basically. And I used to go there every night from school, and my mother would be there, my auntie, my granny, and that. And my uncle, who was blind, used to play the accordion, and he would do lots of Scottish songs, you know, Aphron Kiss, My Love Is But a Red, Red Rose, blah, blah, blah. And my mum used to sing. My granny wasn't too keen on singing, but she loved poetry. And one of her favourites was one of Burns's greatest narrative poet, Tam O'Shanter. And I'm not going to read that, it's 220 bloody old pages. but I can remember it. I can't remember my name, but I can remember that. And it goes something like this. I'll give you a wee snippet if you like. Oh, the story, I'll tell you the story first of all. Basically, it's Tam, who's a farmer, gets drunk in a pub, or nearly drunk, and he's got to go back to his wife, which most of us are very keen to do. And he gets on his horse eventually. He's got to go through this awful wasteland with bairns hanging on gibbets and all that sort of thing, you know, straight out of Burns's imagination. Sorry, Phil. And past a church which was supposed to be haunted and blah, blah, blah. And if he gets caught with ghoulies and ghosties, if he gets away from them, he can only get away from them by jumping over a stream, or the horse jumping over a stream. So here we go, I'll just give you a wee snippet. When Chapman billies leave the streets, and drouthy neighbours meet, and folk gae boozing at the nappy, getting fou and unca happy, they think near the long Scots miles that lie between us and our hame, where sits our sullen, sulking dame, nursing her wrath like gathering storm, nursing her wrath to keep it warm. This truth fund honest Tam O'Shanter is he for air enacted canter. Ah, old air, where no tune surpasses for honest men and bonny lassies. And then it goes on, and he gives a lot of philosophy. Anyway, he goes on, he's not finished drinking yet, you know. This is only the sequel, not the sequel, it's the prequel before the sequel. And anyway, so he's sitting drinking, and then decides he's got to go home because Kate's waiting for him. You know, the one who's nursing her wrath like gathering storm. And so he's just about to set off, and I've written it down here somewhere because I can't remember this bit for some reason. And I've got the pages mixed up, so that makes it even harder.
I've got two glass
Page 2, it must be page 2. I've just finished page 1. And the night's hellish, so and Burns says, that night a child might understand the deal had business in his hand. Then he gets on his horse, which is called Meg, by the way. Wheel mounted on his grey mare Meg, a better never lifted leg. He scalp it on through dug and mire, and then go through wind and hail and something else and fire. It's probably a molehill or something. And then he goes on, and as he's going through this, I might stop.
No, you're enjoying it.
And what was I saying? Oh yeah, he's getting on through double mile. Yeah, and he sees the church. He's past all these horrible things with, you know, hanging on gibbets and things. And there's a light gleaming in the church. I need to see the light, you see. So there's a light gleaming from the windows of the church. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not supposed to be funny. Boys and witches. And he looks up and he sees and the horse is terrified. So he's trying to egg it on, you know. Well, that's right, you've done this before. Nice stuff. Yeah. Are you named Tom? No. And anyway, he kneels it on. Oh, that was wrong, wasn't it? He kneels it on and gets up to the church and looks in the window, and there's all these witches and warlocks in a dance. And in the a winnock bunker, that's just a seat in the window, you see. And he looks in, and in a winnock bunker in the east, there's saddled neck in shape of beast. He upped his pipes and garden skirl till roof and rafters ordered dirl. Now, in the meantime, Tam's looking at these, and they're all hags, except for this one beautiful witch, if that's possible, I don't know. But isn't it? I think. Yeah. Well, we used to, when I was in the Marines, we used to go up to lots of beautiful witches.
Lots of beautiful.
Yeah, I was younger then. But maybe I could see, so I don't know. I know, it's terrible, isn't it? But, where have I got to? Can you tell me?
The witches and ghouls dancing up in the rafters.
That's the one, that's the one. And this beautiful young witch, she might not have been young, I don't bet she was beautiful. And she had a long, what they call a cutty sark in Scotland, which is like a long night shift, you know? Now you know that. Am I right? Oh, good, well done. So, and I'm not sure if it was white or not, it was beautiful. And he gets carried away. And he says, "Well done, Cutty Sark!" And in an instant all was dark. And hardly had he Maggie rallied, and out the hellish legion sallied. So he's racing away now with all these terrible people chasing him. And down the hill he goes, and he sees the bridge. He's got to get across the water, and Maggie leaps, and just as he leaps, one of the witches grabs his tail, and he loses his tail. And so that's the end of Maggie Thatcher. But anyway, that was my mum. No, it wasn't.
Your gran.
My granny.
We were paying attention.
Oh, my mum, bless her soul. No, I'll come to that later, or maybe not, but no, it's terribly sad because it was at the funeral. Am I allowed to say this?
Yeah.
Because our favourite, I'll come back to this, but this is an aside. Are you got time?
I don't understand half of what you're saying.
I'll try and be clearer.
No, you just need to interpret it in English.
That's it! There we go.
Yeah. You see, Burns was like that. No. I mean, he was an expert at local dialect, but any time he wanted to make a point, he always got back into English because he realised that the English wouldn't understand. So, do you know, this is in the 7th, no it's not, it's in the 1800s, 17 something, that's the 1800s, isn't it? Yep. England had 2 universities, Scotland had 5. 1.2 million people in Scotland, and 5 universities. 5 million people in England, and only 2. No wonder there's a thick. Sorry, I didn't mean to. No. I forgot where I was. I'm sorry. Forgive me. Anyway, my mother. Oh yes, my mother. Her favourite tune was "A Fond Kiss." A fond kiss, and then we'll sever. And it goes on only for another couple of lines. I'm sure you all know it, but not so much. She died, unfortunately, my mum, and she said, "I want that played at my funeral." So we all went up to her funeral, as you would, you know, the children and that. And the coffin came in and it sat there, and the organist Sorry, a fond kiss, and then we'll sever. And then we got a phone call. The minister was in a car. What do you call it? Queue. No, not a queue.
Traffic jam.
So all we heard for about God knows how many hours was hi. And I said, God, she must have been lying there thinking, but I wish I'd thought of another tune. Actually, it was lovely, my mum. Oh, no, I won't. I'd love to tell you stories about my mum, but just for the time she got locked in the toilet. Did I tell you about that? That's true. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. Or is there. And the reason I've chosen these poems is to illustrate something of Burns's character. You see, that first one is his great storytelling, and also his part of it is Burns himself. You know, lover of drink, lover of women. You know, he had 12 kids, 6 wives, not 6 wives, 6 ladies. Yeah. God almighty, I've only had 3.
Bit of catching up to do, Bill.
I'm still paying for them, but no. So I thought I'd choose a couple of poems or a few poems, and you've just taken my wind out of my sails because you choose the one out with what do you call it, Scots Were Hay. I was going to use that one to illustrate something else is great patriotism. But anyway, never mind. There's plenty more. Sorry, plenty more. And the next one that my granny especially used to like was the one that they sang at the introduction of the Scottish Parliament, which was a man's a man for all that, which I'm sure some of you know. I chose some of these also because they've got lots of phrases that you've all heard of, or most of you have heard of. All the intellectual ones of you have heard of. and it's only a couple of verses. I'll just read them if I may. Is there for honest poverty that hangs his head for all that? The coward slave we pass him by, we dare be poor for all that. For all that and all that, the toil's obscure for all that. The rank is but the guinea's stamp, the man's the man for all that. And this last one I particularly like, this last verse in that same poem. Then let us pray that come it may and come it will for all that, the sense and worth for all the earth will bear the gree and all that. For all that and all that, it's coming yet and all that man to man the world over, we shall brothers be and all that. Now I could go on and on, but I think I'll stop there because you oh no, I'll tell you what, I'll just because this is next one's my favourite poem. Is there anyone who could tell me, you know, who's gentle and say you piss off, you get too much. Where's Bill?
I'm here.
Oh, can I go on, do you think?
Yes.
Oh.
You usually do.
That's his mate. Have his phone.
Well, this is my all-time favourite. I'm sure there's a very literate crowd here, but this very much reminds me of Polonius's address to, or advice to Laertes in Hamlet, you know. And I'm sure Burns must have read it because it's not word for word, but has exactly the same sentiments, which are well worth reading. And so I'll only read you 2 verses. When you're sitting by yourself, and we a bosom crony, I'd keep something to yourself you wouldn't tell to ony. Conceal yourself as well as you can for critical dissection, but keep to every other man with ultra sly inspection. Isn't that wonderful? Yes. And the next one I like is the same poem. and for Dame Fortune's golden smile, assiduous wait upon her, and gathered gear by every wile that's justified by honour, not for to hide it in a hedge, nor for a train attendant, but for the wondrous privilege of being independent. And not marvellous? just as an aside, you know the famous. I'm going to stop. You know the famous tune. Or that God the gift would give us to see ourselves as others see us. No, is that not? Is that not common?
Yes, it is.
Oh, in that case, and I thought it was. So scrub that. But no, and I was going to say because he's sitting in church, and there's a very well-to-do lady, and he looks at her, and there's a louse crawling up her back, and it crawls up very slowly, and that's where that saying comes from. Because she obviously doesn't know it's there. It's a lovely poem. Well, it hits the spot. Oh, I'll tell you what. Let's just read this one because you all know it. It's, Burns grew up on the farm. He was very poor. A very poor start to life. He's fair enough. His father did his best to educate them. He made sure he could read and write, so on and so on. But he had to labour hard on the farm. And one day he was on the plough and he dug up a mouse's nest, and you know what I'm going to say. So to a mouse. And I think it's remarkable because he's a farm labourer. What the hell does he care about mice? He must be treading on them all the time. But he was that sympathetic, empathetic, that he could make good poetry out of that. We sleekit corn timorous beastie. Oh, what a panic in thy breastie, that thou man pass away so hasty with bicker and brattle. I would be waste to run and chase thee for murder and prattle. I doot nae whiles that they man thieve, but man twisty thou man live, a demonicker and a thraves a small request. I'll get a blessing with a leave and never missed. But Mousie, thou art no thy lane, not on the road. In proven foresight is in vain. The best laid plans of mice and men can after leave, and leave us not but grief and shame for promised joy. Shall I leave it there? I think. Anyway, we'll do this first. But you've got to join in. This is the Mackie and George's buyer. What do you call him? Andy, what's his name?
Stuart.
Andy Stewart. This is his version. But you've got to learn the. I don't know what
Not on any of those.
There's two possible choruses to this. The one we'll sing is
Learn the chorus from Bill.
Okay. Oh, second assaulter was already in. 5 mile away, you could hear the din. Even the old crew had to grin at the mucking of George's buyer. You got that? So, we'll do a practice run first.
If you have the booklet, it is in there.
Yeah.
If you have the booklet, it's number 4. If you have the booklet. If you don't have the booklet, you've got to learn it from first.
Here we go. Okay, when I went to Latin, I think of the scene when all day Esther room to clean and collected himself back up at the end of the mucking of George's fire. There was Robbie and Rocky and Bully the do the all with herself and Tina McCrew and all the else that left with a flew at the mucking of George's fire. Or second, you do this. Or second, a sort of was already in. 5 mile along, you could hear the din. Even the old who had to grin at the mucking of George's fire. You know that?
Still, even people with the words haven't got it.
When I went to Latin, I think of the scene when all the room came out to clean and collected themselves up and got dirty up to the eave at the mucking of George's Vine, or cleaning out the shit out of the cow. And there was, these are the people in it. There was Robbie the Rocky and Robbie the the old wife herself and Teeny McCrew, and all else that's left off the flue at the mucking of George's fire. You got that one? And then, what happens next is the Bobby came round to Queld in the Soon and slipped in the mud that was lying around. He fell in the midden and was like to drown at the mucking of George's fire. The weight of him, sighing afterwards, sent him the barrow in bits. The wheel came off and the old wife had hit. Oh, you should see how she did the splits at the mucking of George's even the old crew had to grin at the mucking of George's fire. Oh, the whiskey gave room to me fleeing the dew. The more they drank, the more that they drank, the more they got through. The only one sober, the cap and the crew at the mucking of George's fire. Tammy rode out, rang the bell for Mary, took at the poo's tail and who did her hair. Sign it, kick it, get up in the air at the mucking of George's fire. Oh, second and sort was already in, final already hear the din. Even the old who had to grin at the mucking of George's fire.
And the chorus again, let's have the chorus again because they've learnt it now. Come on. Here we go.
We do it many times as well.
Do it twice. Get up.
Actually, there's another chorus.
It's easier. There we go. No, carry on.
There's another chorus. There's all the grape was bent, the bosom was thin, the barley wouldn't row its length, and second and sort of was already in at the mucking.
Sorry.
Now, a grape, the grape was bent, the grape was a fork, you know. Fork. Well, I'm sure I don't have to dance. It was bent, and the barrow carrying things was what was it? The grape was bent, the barrow was dead. Sorry, not the barrow, the bizzle. That's thinking. Something you sweet with. So the grape and the grape was bent. The bizzle was then the barrow, wheelbarrow, wouldn't row its lane, wouldn't go on its own. One second or so was already in at the mucking of George's fire. So that might be an easier one. I'll tell you what. How Henry Truffle. And there's a song that we used to sing when I was in the Marines. Is that better? He jumped without the parachute from 20,000 feet. He jumped without the parachute from 20,000 feet. He jumped without the parachute from 20,000 feet. And he ain't gonna jump no more. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, oh, they scraped him off the tarmac like a lump of strawberry jam. They scraped him off the tarmac like a lump of strawberry jam. They scraped him off the tarmac like a lump of strawberry jam. And he ain't gonna jump no more. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. And he ain't gonna jump no more. Oh, they wrapped him up in 4x2 and sent him home to mum. They wrapped him up in 4x2 and sent him home to mum. They wrapped him up in 4x2 and sent him home to mum. And he ain't gonna jump no more. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. And he ain't gonna jump no more. Now, can I tell you the story about this? If you can remember it. So,
is that enough? Yes, okay. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, Bill.
When the Dutch and the other dog began to holler, fire! They all jumped up together, they had no time to look, and each one grabbed at random a bottom from a hook. This got their bottoms all mixed up, made them very sore to wear another bottom that they hadn't worn before. And that's the reason why a dog will even leave a bone, sell another bottom in the hope I'm so.
So for this very special occasion, you know what I bought? Your glasses. Correct. Guess what I borrowed off? I put mine in my pocket because he had him on his head, he had him in his hand, and he still put mine in his bless him.
Oh, he's not gone, he's still
Come back in again.
Toast to the lasses. I've been the devil the feck of my life, but never I was in hell till I met my wife. Robbie Burns, Scotland's favourite son, certainly had an eye from the ladies.
I'm just giving it to him.
Whereas usually an eye was in response to the question, oh, poor boy, fancy a quickie?
He's in the back room.
It has long been observed a woman can make an average man great and a great man average. Burns could not have attained the status he has so long enjoyed were it not for the fact that he was surrounded by remarkable women. See, I'm emphasising all the good points about women, no subtle. They raised him from man to who he was to the iconic Scotsman whose poems have rung down the ages. He held them very dear in his heart. And he looked at them as a source of comfort, a source of inspiration, a source of strength, and a source of... Oh, I can't say that. No more so than Burns' only bride, Jean Armour, who bore him 2 sets of twins before they got married, called Practice, before the wedding, and a total of 9 children in all. Inspiration for a poem, A Wife's a Winsome Wee Thing. The irresistible beauty and sensuality of women who inhabited the world of Burns is evidenced by the fact he was responsible for, or heartily irresponsible for, no fewer than 13 children, through 5 liaisons with women. So he did well, that boy, didn't he? And he did all that in 11 years. He worked hard, did he? Not all that. I'll tell you what, show the Marines up. But the relationships were not always sweet. One can imagine that the scenes that led to Robbie writing the lines of Tam O'Shanter, which you heard earlier, bits and pieces of. Our gentle dames it gars me greet, to think how many counsels sweet, how many lengthened sage advices the husband from their wife despises. In other words, when the girls tell us what to do and how to do it, and they were right all along, but we never admit it. Is that right, boys? Secret club, boys. Don't let the girls know. And isn't it true that while we love ladies, which man here has not had cause to curse them at some point in his life?
Not me.
No, you were quick there. Good line. Right answer. They infuriate us. They astonish us. And they can change their minds in an instant, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. But above all, and the most maddening thing, is that we'll go along with whatever they say. Because we adore them. And we would do anything to please them. Is that not so? She's within punching distance. And well Burns knew this. To see her is to love her. And love her, and to love that her forever. For nature made her what she is, and never made another. We'll finish off this. We're getting there. Oh, so much paper I've printed today. I'm putting a bill in. Women must acknowledge that men, when we try our hardest to please all and keep you happy, are worth persevering with. Though they may not seem like it at the time. We, for our part, acknowledge that we will ever be in debt to the fairer sex, for it is you that we owe everything, our wealth, our health, our happiness, our breakfast in bed. And Burns knew that well. Our nature swears the lovely dears, her noblest work she classes with the nature. Apprentice hand she tried on man, and then she made the lasses. She practiced on the blokies first, and they got it right with the girls. Isn't that right? Roger's got a joke.
No.
Yes, do that later. So I ask all the gentlemen here present to please stand. All the gentlemen here, please stand. And raise your glasses in a toast to the lasses! The lasses. Font is going to report.
So now it's over to me to do response from the lassies. So it now falls on me to respond on behalf of the lassies here tonight to Derek's toast. And I must say, what a wonderfully eloquent toast that was, Derek. They do say that a man is only truly eloquent when he can describe Dolly Parton without using his hands. I actually did this for my benefit because I didn't know anything about Robbie Burns. Robbie Burns was born the 25th of January 1759 in Ayrshire, and that's up on the west side of Scotland over 250 years ago. A lot of people think I'm from Scotland, I have to say. You have to swim across the Irish Sea to get to me. He died from rheumatic fever at the age of 37, so he had a big impact in that short time. And he wrote his first poem at 15 and wrote over 716 works, including Oil Lines Eye, and the address to the Haggis that Bill did earlier. Is Bill still there? No. So Burns is like, Derek was doing praising all the women and I'm, going to try and praise the men. Burns' characteristics and habits are still shared to this day by many men here in the Bicton. Although best known as a poet, Burns actually wrote and collected almost double the amount of songs and poems, a big shared passion with the musicians here in Bicton. Another shared passion that the men have with Burns would be that demon drink. Burns wrote, "The cock may crow, the day may dawn, and I will taste the barley." Andy over here, he was just telling me that in that recent storm, Aylwin, it was frightful out there a few nights ago, and Alex sent him out for a pint of milk, and he was blown straight into the Bicton Inn. Just like some of the lads here, Burns was sometimes a romantic and sometimes a rascal. To say Robbie Burns, I was just checking my facts there, to say Robbie Burns had a way with the ladies would be somewhat of an understatement, despite his inability to remain faithful to any of them. He fathered 11 children by 5 women in 13 years. And wait for this, girls and men, wait, listen to this. His wife Jean even gave birth on the day of Robbie's funeral, which she attended. Once again, the multitasking abilities of the female. I'm sure a few ladies here, a few of us could resist a man who could write such beautiful romantic lines. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun. Oh, I love thee, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. I know that Derek is a very romantic man too, but age is catching up with him a bit. Well, the other evening, Julie said, let's go upstairs and make love. And he replied, okay, but choose one. I can't do both. Just like our laddies, Burns enjoyed drinking with friends. He enjoyed joining clubs, he learned to dance, and enjoyed going to clubs with the beer. Similarly to be said of the Bicton Pink Panther darts team, ladies team. I hope that you will join me in congratulating Alison, our landlady, on winning the Summer Darts win the trophy, but also received a bottle of Bud Light for scoring not 1 but 280s. Robbie Burton's intellectual story is one of a talented, per-tenant farmer who used his energy to create poetry and songs that inspired many. Burns acknowledged women back then as individuals who had valuable insights and stimulating opinions. My God, that was like rare in the days. We appreciate that the lads here have intellect. Notice that the way I'm complimenting the men as well. They have intellect, but I don't think they truly appreciate the intellect of us lasses. They can be a wee bit patronising at times when it comes to cars, a bit of mansplaining. I rang Barry the other night. I said, I'm phoning you from Limston Village and the car's out of action. What's wrong, he asked. Well, I said, the points are damp, there's water leaking into the air intake, and the carburetor is flooded. I think it's because there's water in the manifold. He said, how on earth do you know that? I said, duh, because the car's in the river. Despite his flaws, Burns looked after all his women and worked extremely hard to provide for his family, as I'm sure do all the laddies here tonight. I hope you realise, laddies, that we lassies do very much appreciate having you all around. Isn't that right? Yes. As ZZ Gabor once said, I just want a man who's kind and understanding. Is that too much to ask from a millionaire? Men are undoubtedly very different from women. However, life would be a lot duller without them, and Scots literature a lot poorer without the riches of Burns' poetry. So in the words of the great bard himself, I ask the ladies to take a cup of kindness yet, and ladies please be upstanding and make a toast to the laddies.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen,